Well, hello everyone. Or as Joe would say, this is Florida Trailblazer checking in. I'm actually, day one is now over, and it's a beautiful sunny evening. And I'm walking down the Salters Wharf. I've got Dave here with me, and Gary and Colin, and I can't really see where I'm going because the sun's in my eyes. But it's a beautiful, fresh evening. It's a bit chilly, but really, really nice. And I think I'm going to have to record I'll record my sort of reviews of the speakers afterwards, because I've finished my first film chip, and I'm going to need more. So I'll record the reviews of the speakers at the end. But there's an amazing sky. But look at those clouds over there. Look at the clouds, man. What a sky! But it's only spoiled by the chemtrails. Now, if you remember in my Exopole film, I was there with Colin and Dave, and I'm sure they will remind you that we refer to the chemtrails at that point, that time, that place. But what's happened now is I've not seen a chemtrail-free day since. Thank you. I've not seen a chemtrail-free day since. So despite this beautiful skyscape we got, oh, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic view despite the chemtrails. We've had a very, very intensive chemtrail attack over the last 2 weeks. I don't know why that is. You better ask the people doing it. Look, just look at this. This is the most amazing sky, man. The skyline. The tide's out. You see how far the tide goes out? It goes out miles and a couple of miles. Look at that. Look at that, Havano TV viewers. Look at the sky. Look at the clouds, cloudland, sort of cloudscape. Amazing. So it's almost like mountains in the distance, the cloudscape. It's absolutely beautiful here. I can smell shit, yeah. And we're going to have a meal in the Salters Wharf. That's Southport over there, that city over there, that little town. And there's the lifeboat station where we were last night. We haven't got swans flying over our head tonight. So I've got Colin here with me. And Gary. And we're going to do a Skywatch later. Yeah, we're going to go to the Langdales first. Pick up some more people. Some more probists. Now, as you can see, this is... I don't know, like, I call this place... This bit here I always call Coral Castle. It's not its real name. That's just a name I've given it. And look at that. Beach kiosk. I mean, I've said this before, you can't imagine a more different seaside town than Blackpool to this, can you? I mean, it's like... Blackpool is like... This is Babylon of the North, isn't it? And... But you just... all within walking distance, virtually, of Blackpool. Certainly for a hospital porter, ex-hospital porter like me, it's walking distance. Maybe a bit more tricky for a civilian. But literally within a very, very short distance from Blackpool, you have this little totally different place. Completely different to Blackpool in every way, shape or form. Actually we're going to have something to eat. This is the conference, the day one conference is just finished. We're going to have and I'll catch up with you later. And I hope you, wherever you are having fun and happy. And oh, shut up, Ben. Hospital porters pride and dignity to stop the New World Order. We are now going to witness a card trick from Mr. Dave here. But he's going to do it on Gary.
So Gary's the subject. Okay. Put your hand on here. Okay. And I want you to concentrate on the card. Really.
Do you win any? No, you've got that. And that makes you famous.
We're going to use your card in the trick, okay?
You're famous now. There's nobody else got one of those.
Have you got one in mind?
I do, yes.
Okay.
No, I haven't got any.
Tell me how
married. You'll find out when you get married.
King of Diamonds.
King of Diamonds.
Right. Okay. So, your name is Jason. What's your second name, Jason? Jason Jackson.
We're going to take the pack out. And we're going to just have a little look through.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to write on them.
Can you see the one that's upside down?
Yeah.
What's your
Put them in your head.
King of Diamonds.
And then if you get them wrong, you can change your eyes.
How does that work? Find it up. He's a magician.
I know. Well, Paranormal TV viewers, if you can work out how I've got no idea. Dave, well done. That's brilliant. That was well done. That was brilliant, wasn't it, Colin? Yeah. Hello. I'm at the Langdales Hotel. I'll just give you a quick view of where I am. And there's these two guys over there. There's a lady who's been doing the music and a gentleman who's been singing, and Colin is here. And Gary, and there's a few women and men over there, including Sasha and a couple of other people.
Miles has been inducted.
Yeah, Miles is missing in action. We're trying to track him down, basically.
Yeah,
a bit like looking for Bigfoot, basically.
We found his shoes in the car.
Yeah.
In fact, it's pretty much identical to looking for Bigfoot, isn't it? Hopefully he'll turn up. We'll let you know. Unless he's been taken like he has during the old Super Soldiers Summit, you know.
Like I said, like, we always knew they'd come back from him. He, you know.
Dennis here has got some orb photos. He's gonna, you know, as you remember, Dennis is the orb man. And what's he just got that here? Thanks. Now there's one, and that's just where. Is that Madeleine?
That's
That's that lady Madeleine, yeah.
there's Sam.
And Sam.
Zoom in.
That's a beauty. It's a complete one, yeah?
Yeah, it's a complete one, as you can see. Then you've got the one that's not long been taken. So you've got a few cluster of them up there.
There's quite a few up there, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a moving one not long ago.
You just caught one, haven't you?
Yeah.
Caught a really good one.
There's a moving one, which is, I'm just trying to find it now. There it is. Up there on the curtain, as you can see over there.
It's over there.
That round curtain.
Yeah.
Round line. You've got it there.
Yep. Definitely an orb there.
If I zoom in past him, follow it up, you can see, doing a bit more, and that's as far as I can zoom in.
Yeah, it's
you can see like a moving orb.
Definitely, yeah, it's moving slightly.
And while that was there, there was
Hi, Gene. How are you?
another one in the same frame.
I'm making. Yeah, well, Dennis has been doing it, and I'm. Have you?
She's got a brilliant one.
Oh, Jean has got one too. Let's have a look, Jean.
I haven't got my glasses, so I hope I haven't left them in the rest.
Sorry. This is Jean, who is a friend of mine from. Where'd you get that from? Where did you
Oh my God,
Wow.
it's female energy trying to manifest itself into a goddess.
I think you showed me some before. That you showed me some of your pictures before, because you've got a lot of these because you took them UFO photos, didn't you?
Oh, the ones down at Streatham Common.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's moving. You can see them.
Yeah, it's a full moon as well.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely beautiful.
It's taken on the full moon.
Well, that's beautiful. It really is. It's lovely.
The interpretation from Chris Street is that it was manifesting itself. It's not sure why it hasn't manifested into a goddess, but it was asking for water and also for a candle to be burning and for a little, what do we call it?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jean. Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the emails as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, because you send me lots of interesting emails. That is a Streatham Common UFO. Yeah, and
And there's a little green man underneath that.
there, look at that. Yep, that's actually a beautiful photo, and you can see there the alien just there. That's amazing. I mean, that's an incredible photo. That. Yeah. Well done.
Horizontally.
It was amazing.
So,
You spent hours.
to me, it could be them.
No, we're sliding. We're sky watching on the beach, everyone. I'll just put my. Where's the light cam? That's it. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, we're Sky. Can you see me now? Yeah, we're Sky watching on the beach. I've got my low light camera. It's Colin.
Yeah, hello.
Colin's here, and this is Jed.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. And who else is here? Gary.
Hello.
And Sherry, who's
Hello,
there.
hello.
And there's a few more people sort of trailing along behind us.
Female balance, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. One woman against 4 men.
Well, there's more women coming, but they just change. Well, Sasha's changing her shoes and that. Yeah.
Well, they are here, guys, because as soon as we
That is true. That was a
came
good
to the
sign. I
beach,
mean, that was.
it didn't look like a meteorite, and it didn't look like a shooting star. I don't know what it,
It
looked
was,
like.
and it was quite, you know, it
And
was
it went
quite
along
low.
horizontally.
Quite low.
It was low, and it didn't dip. It just carried on, and it had a trail behind it. So I'm not really sure what that was.
So you've already seen something strange, Sherry, haven't we? We've already seen what, like, it looked like an orange
It's an
orb.
orangey reddy streak. It could have been a meteorite, but it had a trail behind it of like a smoky kind of trail.
Amazing, yeah.
And it wasn't my cigarette.
Right. Well, there's some more people coming, so
What you have to do is
Keep
just
checking.
think. I don't know.
Hospital Porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Can you see me all right? I've got my... Yep, it's working. I'm here with these ladies here. There's Sasha, and that's Suzanne, and I know a couple of the others are like Karen. Hello, and there's the other guys are over there. You won't be able to see them in this camera, but we're sky watching on the beach. And now they've already seen something actually. They've just as soon as Colin and the others arrived, an orange streak shot across the
I
sky.
saw that. I've seen that.
You saw it too?
Yeah. It was on my phone and I saw it.
Oh man, did you record it?
No.
Because it might have been a meteor, but not sure.
I don't know. It's probably up there.
Keeping an eye out for more things, so we'll let you know as soon as we see something.
The furthest, if you
There's the Milky Way over there, and there's various other stars.
Cygnus up there, is that Cygnus? You can
Cygnus.
just see that. What's that? I don't know what it means.
This is Colin's famous phone app, which
This is
allows
quite
him
popular.
to.
This is Star Walk, I think it's
Yeah.
called.
It shows him whenever he points at the sky.
Neptune's up there.
It shows you
apparently.
Neptune. Wow. It shows you.
Good thing is, it does, like, you can see the it puts in the actual shapes of the Uranus. There's Uranus somewhere over there. Neptune.
There's something up there. I think that's a plane.
Yes, I think it's a plane. It's green.
I'll switch my viewfinder off because I don't want to.
It just appeared nowhere.
Yeah, it's a plane. There's a bit of a flicker. Yeah, there's flicker.
Is that the plough or what is it? I
Colin,
haven't seen
what's that? Oh, is that what's that constellation? Is that?
Yeah. The plough's small, isn't it? What's that one? then?
Colin's just
Draco.
Drake. Oh, Draco.
No.
It's below that. Ursa Major. It's Ursa Major. Yeah, it is. It's the plough.
The plough.
Ursa Major. Yeah, it's over there.
I've seen a small
There,
one. Which
Draco's up there.
You can see Draco there.
God, so glad you got your phone with you, Colin. I really am.
Wait, so
I'm
what,
running out of power.
do you think is that Cassiope, that cluster up there, like a crab's claw? See, that's where I see
Andromeda's supposed
Andromeda.
to be up there
Well,
somewhere.
that's where I see a lot of stuff.
Perseus.
Andromeda has a kind of square thing to it. It's got a kind of square.
But this is like a crab thing. See, in a V with a long tail. Like a
Cassiopeia,
kite.
did you
It
say?
is Cassiopeia.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah?
You're very good.
Well, I've seen a lot of that stuff come from. And when we came in here, we got that flash. It came from again there. And usually, when you get one, you get several that start darting around.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, come on, guys. Yeah.
Something for the pro.
Yeah, come and show us yourself to us.
Give us a flash if you are ETs, 2 flashes. If you are the Air Force, if you are from Earth, give us 1 flash. I did that once, so I got, what was it, after about 2 minutes, the star went across, stopped and flashed twice and moved on.
I think one of the ones when they dim and they sort of, that's when you know that there's something more to it, because, you know, the things that dim and then get brighter, then that's clearly, that's not something that an aircraft
I
would
know.
do.
That's what I saw with Tony Topping on this beach, on this very beach, so long ago. And the Skywatch is sort of broken into different clusters, but we're all on here.
And I thought all the new age stuff, fluffy stuff,
That's Dave.
really mattered was
Honestly,
non-duality. But then I'm thinking, no, the law of attraction combined with the absolute.
There's Jason.
How you doing?
Hello, Jason.
Hiya.
Jason of Laphis is here. And these two, it's a gentleman from and lady from Laphis. What's your names? Janet.
My name's Brian.
Brian, hello.
Superman.
I'm glad you're here as well.
Yeah, and you?
Here we are. And over here we have Susanna, who you've met before.
We were just looking at something in the sky, or at least we thought
Yeah.
we did. We thought we saw something moving just now.
Keep
not the,
your
not the
eyes on.
flash.
Yeah,
There's
it's
something further up which is different to make out, but
There's still a couple of aircraft around. And there's these two ladies here. What's your name?
Karen.
Karen. And I don't think everyone wants to be filmed on Paranormal TV. Fair enough. Not everyone does. Keep looking out for the sky.
My bag is chocolate.
Seen anything? And those people, they've seen it.
Weirdest thing I've seen on this
Hello,
house
Nigel.
tonight.
God, I want to do that well then.
Is it? Oh, of course.
What's on there?
You won't find anything more normal than me, Sasha. So Nigel's here, and Ellen's here as well. That's nice. And,
Alan Mortimer, Nigel Mortimer.
hello, Nigel.
UFO Bevy.
And here's Dave as well. Yeah,
UFO
Bevy on YouTube, and of course Sasha, who you've already met.
UFO Bevy.
I do now.
Some of these ladies, they saw some flashing over that way, but there's been a couple of planes going over.
on the way
There was
here.
an aeroplane
Yeah.
going over that way.
There's been a couple of planes going over, but Sherry's the lady who seems to know how to summon them. So we'll have to just wait and see. Yeah. Now there's some lights on the horizon.
I don't need that. I just want you told.
Lots of lights on the horizon.
I don't disbelieve people can summon them because I've had.
I can't summon them. You can never.
No, I
know
don't
what
mean
you're
like
saying,
summon them, but it's like almost like sometimes I think of them and then I see them.
Yeah, it's
I haven't
because you're
summoned
drawing
them,
that
but
attention.
I've taken, like one day, it was a very unusual event because I was actually tidying my bedroom and I was like tidying, and I kept looking at my window and it was like a big picture window up on the 4th floor of an old Victorian house on the top of a hill, so I had a really good view. So I'm tidying things, which is a very rare event in itself. and I was like, I kept looking at the window and then my brain was going, take some pictures.
Yeah, that's exactly how it
And I
is.
thought, all right, I'll take some pictures.
Yeah.
Took some pictures, zoomed in, and there was a big silver spear. In fact, there was about 12 photographs. There was a black and a white object that was zooming across the sky. They were doing something up there. Then they came down and they were underneath the
Are
clouds.
these ones that you put on Facebook
Absolutely,
recently?
yeah. So I've got a big
Oh, I saw,
spear
yeah, they
with a
were
little
down.
tiny black thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like the little tiny black thing is going into the silver
Yeah.
sphere thing. And I didn't actually see them. It was my brain going, take pictures.
Yeah. That's what we do.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that's me influencing anything.
I used to. There's no word about
But
it.
how do they know?
Oh, they do know.
How,
The thing
how
is
does it work
because
though?
we're all energy, we're all connected
How
to the
does it
same energy
work?
they are.
I need to
question.
know
Creating a
scientifically
signal.
how it works.
What are you picking up with your pendulum there, Ellen?
It's going round really fast and I've no
Well,
control
the
over it.
This is good. So we've got a pendulum swinging here.
Above the sea.
I can see it going. Her hand's not moving, but this thing is oscillating.
Oh
Like a
God.
red tinge on top of it.
It's really quite amazing picture.
I'll tell you what do you want?
Normally I chant with
What's like
drums.
this egg?
I usually bring my drums when I go chanting at
Sasha, I used to have that years ago where I used to...
What's over there? Look. Over there, over Southport. To the north. I think it might be. Over there. Over by Southport to the north. I think maybe a Chinese lantern. There's two of them. No, that's below. No. Keep looking, yeah. There it is. Can you see it, Paranormal TV? I can't bloody focus. Don't worry, it's all photoshopped.
I've been seeing them for years.
Yeah, it's just...
They're over Ellesmere Port and I think they're helicopters.
Oh.
I've been over there to
Yeah.
Hightown, a place called Hightown, just north of Crosby.
And
Through binoculars you can just make out nav lights.
Yeah.
And they're usually on at night, at weekends. You
Yeah.
get sometimes 2 or 3 of them on. And the light's bright and dim, because I think the chopper's turning around. I presume it's a chopper, what else can it be?
Yeah.
The chances of it being somewhat from the Pleiades is very unlikely.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's Yeah, it's probably a helicopter. I'll keep my eye on it anyway,
Well,
just in
that's
case
the
it
only
moves.
explanation I got. At first I thought it was aircraft going into Liverpool Airport, but it's not, because that's much further over that way, and you can't see him from here.
Yeah.
But you can see him from Hightown.
Yeah. So Brian has brought up the. Yeah, it's Brian has made a good point. When you see a light like this in the sky, it's very often helicopters are quite from a distance. Are very often. You see it's quite low on the horizon, which means it's a distance. But nevertheless, we're going to keep an eye on it to see if it moves.
You may do. Sometimes they go up and drift slightly, and usually just fade away.
See if it does anything. There's a flashing light there. I think that's an aircraft.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fading now. It's probably moving off.
Yeah, I was very interested in them when I first saw them.
Those lights over there are Southport, on the other side of the River Ribble.
It's much further than Southport, because Southport, obviously, you go round, you get to Liverpool,
Yeah.
and they're even further than that. They're over Ellesmere, over the Wirral somewhere.
That's directly south. Sorry, that's south, not north. Yeah, we're heading. That's looking directly south. This beach is sort of like runs from north-south or northeast to north.
Just saw a meteor.
Oh, lovely.
Very quickly.
Did you see it? You saw it too? Oh, I missed it. Most of them don't last very long, but sometimes you see like a one that lasts. And you see them, they meteors. They're more common than people think, actually. You know, if you look up in the sky, actually, you know, if you look up in the sky for a certain amount of time, sooner or later you'll see a shooting star. They're actually pretty common, and
yeah.
But also, if you think about why would they do it,
That's what limp it up.
Hospital Port has pride and dignity and all that sort of thing. We've just seen a couple of shooting stars. There was one just over there by Southport, came in directly down from top to bottom, from the directly downwards towards from the horizon. It was lovely, and judging by the excited shouts over here, I think someone over here sees. What did you see?
Flash of light go.
Massive ball like white light.
But it wasn't a quick flash, it was slow.
Wow, because I saw one over there. It was really quick.
Yeah, no, this wasn't quick, it was slow.
This was slow.
It went.
Right. Oh, nice.
Right in the middle of the plough.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wicked. Because that's now the third meteor we've seen. That's really, really amazing.
That one to me.
Did you see the one over? Did any of you see the one over in that direction? There was one over there, but it was just went straight down from top to bottom. Yeah. So we're making progress, our Panorama TV viewers. We're making progress.
over there. Right there. In the window. There. Where? Which window?
Hang on.
Right.
The first one.
There.
Come, let's get a bit closer. Let's get a bit closer.
By that pillar there.
Well, this was unexpected. We've seen a ghost.
There. Look, right. No, it's not. It's just the paint. Right there.
Is
It's
it?
not. You can see its shadow moving. I'm going to go to the It's the light of the paint.
Is it where? Well, that bit there. Oh, I'm approaching St Anne's Pier now, because someone's seen a ghost. Is anybody there? This is getting stranger and stranger. Yeah, I can't see anything. No, I couldn't see any. So now we found meteors, and there's something over there. I think that's another helicopter. There's something over towards Liverpool. Look south. I think it's another helicopter. It's flashing. It's an aircraft. Another false alarm. Okay, we've seen two lights over towards Liverpool again. Now Brian told me there's helicopters or maybe landing lights for John Lennon Airport. I don't know if you can see them. There's that there. Lost them now. I've got the wrong camera. We need Win Keach's camera. That's it there.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's getting bigger. Can you see it's getting brighter over here? It's getting
That was what happened earlier on, wasn't it? Though?
Yeah.
We watched. I thought it was.
Land.
Is that an aircraft? Is it an S? Oh, it's moving. It's moving.
Could be coming towards us.
Could be a helicopter. No, what's?
It's changing colour.
No, it's coming. It's getting brighter.
That may be the thing that shot over us.
Could be.
Do you know what I think?
Getting brighter.
It doesn't look like the same thing that shot over us.
It's red and orange.
No, you mean
it's,
it's-
it's stationary.
It's rising. It's moving.
But it is the second one of its kind.
Yep. We have a strange object here, Paranormal TV viewers. Could be aircraft landing lights. Could be a helicopter, but it's moving. It's flashing.
It's in the same position, it's the same size, it's staying in the same
Oh.
Not unless it is a helicopter.
No, it's moving.
Is that? Do you reckon that's over the ocean, or do you reckon that?
You can't tell distance. I don't know how you can tell. It's hard to tell distance. I'll try and parallax it. I'm going to move it to try and parallax it. Right, see if it moves. No, it's distant. It's not parallaxing. It's distant.
Looking down, there's a lot of industry.
You're still filming it?
Yeah.
Somewhere I went, I drove right out to the end.
Got the camera on it.
Watch it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make it dim. And go.
If it's a landing light, it'll disappear as the aircraft changes course. If it doesn't, we'll see what it does.
Yeah, but if you stand there too long in that position.
Yeah, but no way would it
You
do
stand
that.
too long in that position.
Yeah.
If it is in one position.
Come here. What was it? What was you? This is just after Sherry said that thing.
What's she saying?
We want to make contact. Please, we want to make contact.
That's why I say I go 1, 2, 3, and then we all say we
Yeah.
want to make contact.
We want to make contact. Oh, I haven't paid Greer his $5,000. It's fading out. It's fading out now. That's right. It's faded. Yeah. Right, we are now trying to contact the aliens by flashing our torches in the sky. Now, Sherry is like, Sherry's doing a good job here, shining her torchlight up to the sky. And we haven't paid our we haven't paid our $5,000 to Dr. Stephen Greer. Oh God, our saviour.
They come out at 9:30 to 10:30.
Yeah.
And he's gone past a little.
That's when the pub's shut. That's when the pub's shut in space.
And then they come out about 2, 3 in the morning.
No.
They don't.
I'm not staying up that late.
Very active.
Yeah.
I suppose they might be a bit less shy then.
It could be.
Probably less people.
Whose keys were these?
Well, obviously, you know, the Right Honourable Paul Hellyer MP, Defence Minister of Canada, wasn't exactly right when he said they're as common as the aircraft that fly above our head. Because they're not as common as the aircraft that fly over our head, they just are there, and he's right to say that they are real and they are extraterrestrial. But they're not as common as aircraft. We've seen a dozen aircraft now. We've seen 3 landing lights. We've seen loads of them flying over our heads. But we haven't seen as many extraterrestrial craft. We've seen something over in that direction that might be, but nothing significant. Not exactly close encounters. We haven't seen the mothership yet. And watch out for the Jatoon, even though you wouldn't know what they are because they shapeshift constantly. Now I've seen a few things. There's the Milky Way there. There's a line of sight. There was the Milky Way, and there's other galaxies and Mars. And we were just saying that it's amazing how many chocolates have astronomical names. Mars, Milky Way, galaxy. I mean, maybe it's because yeah. There's even some sweets called asteroids. I was wondering if it could be that it's because we've been exporting chocolate to the aliens, according to Joanne Richards. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know quite what to make of what she said. I mean, it matches some of the things Timothy Good has been writing about. So I reserve judgment on that. The first time I was at Probe, there was this rather arrogant individual. He wasn't very nice about her. He was quite rude, not to her face, but he was rude about her. He said, well, from a psychological point of view, it's interesting, but basically, she's talking over a load of rubbish. What? Birds. Sherry has moved a little way away from us now because she wants to be on her own just to try and...
That would have been great.
Oh, another false alarm. Yeah, I think this sort of thing does take perseverance. I mean, a lot of people, you know, I've been on Skywatch quite regularly now, but there are people who go out every night and they sooner or later they see things that are strange. You've got to persevere. It's not, you know, you can't expect the aliens to just put an appearance for us just when they're not obliged to do that, you know. Okay, I'm just taking another stroll by myself now down the beach. Got to basically go to the toilet. It never strikes me, I mean, even though we haven't seen anything extraterrestrial, I just find it amazing to stand here with the sky above me, and it's amazing once you get away from the lights of the town, and I'm just further down on the beach. It's incredible how many more stars. I mean, I do recommend anyone do this, just go away from city lights. You don't have to go far away from city lights, and just look up into the sky, and there's so many more stars than you ever see if you're in a city, in a city street, and you're sort of like in the middle of the town looking up. You can see maybe one or two big ones if you're in the middle of the city, you know, maybe a dozen if you're lucky. But when you get out away from the built-up area and the artificial lights, the majesty of the night sky is incredible. I mean, Richard Dawkins always recommends we do this. A truly magnificent feeling of wonder and awe. So much better than what you get, the cheap fobbing off of silly superstitious belief that you get. Well, I mean, I've never quite understood exactly why Richard Dawkins thinks wondering at the night sky is a reason to doubt the existence of God. I've never quite understood that. Do you have to disbelieve in God to appreciate an amazing night sky? No, I just never understood Richard Dawkins, full stop.
Away madly over there.
Well, Paranormal TV viewers would have called it, yeah, there's another...
That one's flashing away.
Yeah, there's another sort of aircraft light. Well,
I mean, we've seen 4, like, you know, I don't know what they are. As soon as we turned up on the beach, this ambery, bright, fiery thing shot across the sky, and it didn't arc at all. It just carried on.
We've seen a couple of interesting things, and we've had a lovely time. It's amazing to look at the night skies, I was just saying. But, it's now almost midnight, and
we're naked. Sorry.
We've had a lovely time out here. We have, and it's getting cold, and we're going to call it a night, I think. But I mean, are you going to be here tomorrow, Gwen? Are you going to be here tomorrow? Yeah, Gwen's. Oh, sorry, you don't want to be filmed. No, sorry. All right. So I was just pointing. Yeah, it's pointing at me now. Sorry. But we can always come back here tomorrow. But we're going to call it a night because it's now getting late and I need to get to bed. So this is our sky watching on the beach. Yeah, that's our sky watching on the beach done for this evening. See you later. Good night, Paranormal TV viewers.
Keeps us going through the winter. Well, and the summer months, to be honest.
There's stained glass in this hotel.
I think my own theory is generally going to the seaside and you start from the seaside contact and go around.
I do like to be beside the seaside. Beside the seaside, yeah. Oh, what a lovely, ooh, nice day. See ya. Another dose of chemtrails, unfortunately. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Well, I won't subject you to any more of that. Right, it's Sunday morning. Must be about 9:15. I'm heading for the conference. It's nice having a hotel that's so close. I'm in the shade now so you can see the chemtrails more clearly. Oh, it's green. And St. Anne's, of course, like many places in this part of the world, is more, still quite traditional. Things are shut on Sundays around here. Oh, I slept well after last night's Skywatch. It's a shame we didn't see anything significant, but we had some of the guys from Lapis there. That's the Lancashire Aerial Phenomenon Investigation Society, and they are very similar to Bufora in a way. If you remember my review of the Bufora conference, the British UFO Research Association, in that they're quite Fortean. One of the guys there is very, very well versed on identifying aircraft landing lights, navigation beacons, helicopters with spotlights, things like that. And he told me he's not actually ever seen anything in the sky that he can't explain, and that's a shame. Although he accepts that the phenomenon is real, he accepts there are some things people have seen in the sky which cannot be explained. There's some absolutely first-rate witness testimony. Some evidence, including photography, older photographic evidence. Photographic evidence is pretty useless nowadays with Photoshop and stuff. That does stand up to scrutiny. One of the problems I had with Bufora is, in a sense, they were very much aping the skeptics, which has got a lot of these kind of Fortean organisations do. What I mean by that is they were trying to be skeptics. In a sense, they were trying to be skeptics and be with the skeptics, part of the sort of skeptical milieu, without actually being skeptics, if that's not a oxymoron. And that meant they almost trying to sort of like out-skeptic the skeptics in a way. What I mean, when I went to the Bufora conference, if you remember my review, was one of the things that struck me was the very, very strange, let's cross the road here, the very, very strange way they seem to be trying to continuously move forward while looking over their shoulder. What I mean by that is the conference focused more on, they focused almost completely on what could be explained already and how to know when you're being taken in, fooling yourself into thinking something's not of this world when it in fact is. And the pitfalls to make and the sort of logical pathways you take to eliminate the possibility that you are actually seeing something strange in the sky. That you are not. That's how you eliminate those pathways. Now, there was one of the speakers paid tribute to Dr. David Clarke, which was quite funny. Dr. Bullshit, as Scott Felton calls him. Scott's not here, I just realised. It's a shame. He didn't go to Exapol either. But the problem is, you see, it's true there are certain pitfalls you need to avoid. There are certain explanations of some phenomena that very obviously have possibilities of being something perfectly mundane, and that needs to be countered. You need to be able to understand that and recognise that when it happens. But the problem is, if you try too hard to prove yourself wrong, you get into a situation where you have an unfalsifiable argument. And this is what I thought Bufora were heading towards. I think the people from Lapis are sort of on that path. Luckily they haven't gone down too far down that path yet. But they need to be wary of it. They need to be aware not to get sucked into that kind of fallacious logic. By that I mean, well, Heather Gilroy, who did a speech, she did a speech at Bufora. She talked about how you should try and eliminate possible eliminate possible non-extraterrestrial explanations first. And on one level that's fine, that's a good idea. You need to be aware. First, if you see an orange light going across the sky, you need to be aware it's not a Chinese lantern. You see a static, very bright light in the sky, it could be the planet Venus. But if you take that logical pathway to extremes, there's the YMCA again, you end up in a mindset where you say, no, I'm not going to just eliminate any likely non-extraterrestrial explanation. I'm going to eliminate all physically possible non-extraterrestrial explanations before I launch a proper investigation into what could be something extraterrestrial. Now, that line is unfalsifiable. If you take that position, then nothing can be extraterrestrial, because almost anything you see in the sky could have a physically possible explanation. It could be something extremely unlikely, extremely bizarre, but it could be. It could be that. If you say, well, it could be something like, well, Andy Roberts is a good example with his Bedouin Mountains UFO incident. You know, well, it could simply be a bolide meteor that travels through across North Wales, extremely rare event, at the same time as an earthquake which travels across North Wales, again an extremely rare event. Let's get my ticket out. And this is entrance for Saturday, entrance for Sunday. But really, I mean, reach the point where something's so unlikely, you say, well, you're going to say that is, if you suggest that a bolide meteor combined with an earthquake at the same time, almost unbelievable coincidence, makes more sense than something that is extraterrestrial, then really nothing can possibly ever be a UFO. Good morning.
You okay? Carry on.
Oh, thank you. And here I am. So it's not far from my hotel to the venue. Here is everyone. See you later. Right, I've just seen Charles Hall, who was originally Colonel Charles Hall of the US Air Force. He was a range observer at Area 51, and he spoke at Probe before because during the course of his duties he found that there were aliens living in the Dreamland area in Area 51 at Nellis Air Force Range. He calls them various names like the Tall Whites or the Norwegians with 24 teeth, and several other names. Now, the first speech he did was a kind of was pretty much an introduction to the whole subject, and it was very much what he spoke about last time he was here. He lived in Indian Springs, Nevada, and he had regular contact with these creatures and the various experiences he had. He's written a book about it, which I've not got, unfortunately. I have to make some tough decision about what I'm going to buy, what I don't buy. It's always a bit tricky. Anyway, and the second speech he gave was, I heard he was going to go into crop circles, but he didn't talk much about crop circles. I actually found him slightly hard to follow. It's partly because I think the sound system was a bit poor in the auditorium. They just had two speakers, it was very echoey. Also, his speech wasn't very tightly structured. He tended to go all over the place. He'd go from one subject to another. I think probably the best thing to do is read his book to find out, and maybe I'll get more information from him that way. But he's a very nice man, and I spoke to him and his wife, and they've come all the way from California to actually speak at the Probe conference. So I'm very grateful to them both, and you know, any miscomprehension is mostly up to me. I mean, I just found it very, very hard to follow. But it just goes to show, you know, he was a senior officer at Area 51, so he wasn't some loony. This is a common misconception that the skeptics like to promote, is that people who believe in UFOs are kind of just loonies and nutcases and hippies with long hair and guys with anoraks and tinfoil hats and things like that. You know, nothing could be further from the truth. People who believe in UFOs or think they're real because of evidence are senior military officers, as in the case of Charles Hall, government officials like Hellier, Paul Hellier, air traffic controllers, pilots, all kinds of people like that. So I think
Colonel Hall, I think, destroys the stereotype of the UFO believer. Loonies, nutcases, woo-woos, and things like that.
Paranormal TV viewers, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. We did. This is a photo that Paula's just. This is Paula, who's a friend of mine from Exeter, and she's from Pro. And she took this photo on the beach last night. Now I didn't see anything, but this is what appeared. This is what appeared on Paula's camera. And what you're looking at here is probably a motion of some object, some lighted object, which Paula took.
Yeah, what we thought was still, but when I zoomed in, it was actually moving. But
it was moving very quickly. You can see because the exposure of the shot has. Now something has to be moving very, very quickly. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. This was on the beach last night where we were. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that lovely?
Hang on.
Don't want to see the small toothpaste?
I'm going to do others for you.
That's incredible. Wow, there's another one. When was it this was taken? Was it when you first arrived or when we were all down
when we
there?
was all looking at that light over to the left of us, this one. And there's the lights of the ships.
So it was in the sky at around about the same time as those landing lights appeared.
Yeah, that's the
But obviously that's not what they are.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
What we thought would look like a ball.
But it's moving too quickly. It's obviously. Yeah.
Just before as well, Paulie, you saw with me, didn't you? That big flashing.
Yeah, thing in the sky.
Seconds before that, babe.
Yeah.
Paul turned and I said, what was that? And we were both looking in the direction of
When
the
it was
plough.
fading away.
Yeah. That is incredible. As you can see there from.
Obviously the ship's lights are still, so that's a lot of movement there.
And that's amazing, isn't it? Because there's no way that an object like that could move that quickly.
No.
Or you could move the camera around that quickly.
No.
Gosh.
So yeah, that's it.
Well, thanks very much, Paula. This is Paula, who's the clever lady who captured this image. Right now, since I spoke to Paula and made that little segment there where she showed me the photo that she'd taken, someone has actually come forward and approached me soon afterwards and said that they could explain that photograph in mundane terms. This was someone from Lapis. Now, this is somebody who'd not yet seen the photograph, but decided that they could explain it based on my description alone. They said it was connected with the workings of Paula's camera, and that she used a very, very long exposure, exposure that was too long for that kind of light, those lighting conditions, and that her hand was shaking. This is what caused this zigzagging effect, which produces this blotch or structure that is obvious in Paula's photograph. Now, I can't remember if I put this somewhere else in the film. I think I did, but just in case, I'm going to just mention once again. Well, firstly, I'd say to the person who suggested this explanation, they should actually see the photograph first before deciding completely. But there's some other things not quite right about that explanation. One of those is that there were other lights in that photograph as well. In other words, the lights from Southport in the background, which you could see in the distance across the bay. Of course, we're looking sort of in a southerly direction towards Southport across the Ribble estuary, as I explained in the Skywatching film. Now, those lights are steady. They're not smeared, which means that Paula's hand was not shaking and the exposure length she used was absolutely fine to take a light at a steady speed. It must have been a much faster exposure length than this person is suggesting. This means that the light, which Paula we found so interesting, which I find so interesting, which we took on that beach, must be moving in that way, or it must be some kind of structure in order to produce that effect on the film. So that, I think, I did explain this to Paula, and I did say if that man comes up to you and asks to see the photograph, be ready to hit him with that one if he suggests that it's explicable in terms of the workings of the camera. And I think, you know, as I said before, Lapis, along with other UFO institutions like Bufora,
have this tendency to try and err towards the skeptic fallacy of let's disprove anything that's physically possible of any kind, no matter how unlikely, no matter how bizarre. Let's just keep using those explanations all the time and seeing if we can disprove those explanations. And as I explained in my Sunday morning segment of this film, if you use that kind of logic, you can never prove yourself right. You always have to prove everything wrong. You can never, it's effectively unfalsifiable. As I gave the example of Andy Roberts and his bolide meteor and earthquake appearing at the same time. Now, Madeleine Walker has been on, and she's an interesting lady because she's a lady who, she was actually on Planet X Radio on the same show I was, although I never got to talk to her on the air because I was just doing the news that day. But she's an animal communicator. She has psychic abilities, but her psychic powers extend to the animal kingdom, and she believes, as just like we humans are spiritual beings having a human experience, the various other animals are spiritual beings too, having the experience of that species. And she's had some interesting, she's a human empowerment coach, and she tries to help people and counsel people by how they relate to their pets and how they can get the most out of their relationship with their pets. And she talks about the past lives of her animals and of the various pets she's had, and like her dog, who was called Teasel, I think, a little border terrier, was a cute little thing. And yeah, she talks about the spirits of whales, the lions, dolphins, but she also deals with humans as well, like Credo Mutwa. She met Credo Mutwa, the Zulu shaman, and the Kalahari Bushmen as well, who are these ancient cultures, indigenous cultures that have yet to be exterminated by the Illuminati occupied authorities, or God knows they've tried. And she thinks there's connectors to things like orgone energy, Wilhelm Reich, and she's been to South Africa to see the silver lions, like these big white lions, and she loves these white lions, and she's also been to Australia, to Ayers Rock, and the Olga's a place I've been to, and it's very, very special. And I went there before I really understood enough to appreciate these things in full detail, so that was really interesting. And what struck me about Madeleine's speech, and there's an interview to come with Madeleine as well, I had an experience with a hamster, and I never mentioned this to Madeleine, I should have done. Now, if you go to the Panmo Voice blog, and you put the hamster into the search box, I can't keep putting links in the description box, go to the Panmo Voice blog and put hamster into the search box, and you'll see my articles, The Psychic Hamster and The Psychic Hamster 2, which describes my own experience of psychic powers, my psychic experience with animals. It involves a situation where my hamster DW, well, it's my daughter's really, but I looked after him most of the time. I ran out of bedding for him, and I thought, well, the shops, it was a Sunday and the pet shop was shut, so I put some newspaper down on the bed of his cage, and he was running around acting normal, but then he looked at me, and he stared into my eyes, and he stopped doing his usual hamster thing, scrabbling and sniffing, and he just stared at me for a moment. I had what can only be described as a moment of altered state of consciousness and a melding of minds between myself and the hamster. DW, he was looking at me and he was communicating with me, and what he was communicating was, I'm not comfortable with this newspaper on the floor of my cage, I need proper bedding. And it lasted just maybe a second, but I reeled back, and he was just acting normal after. He just carried on doing what he was doing, acting normal. And I walked out the house, and I went all the way to the big supermarket at the edge of town, which was still open on Sundays, and I bought him some bedding, and I came back and put it in his cage. The other experience I had in terms of psychic connection with animals, there's a link in the original article to that, and that is my girlfriend Astane, who you know as Astane, that's not her real name. Her hamster died, her hamster Sweetie died, and we sort of had a little bit of a deathbed vigil for this little hamster. She was almost 3 years old, so in hamster terms she was a grand old lady. But she was sort of lying on her back, sort of breathing shallowly like that. And then suddenly I heard her go squeak. She made a noise, and I went and looked into the little bed we'd made for her, and she was lying completely still. And I think that's the moment she actually died, and she made that little squeaking noise just the moment she died, which is really quite remarkable. So I think Madeleine's speech made me think of that, and I bought a copy of her book anyway. It's mostly a present for Stain, but I'm sure I'll be reading it too.
Hospital Port's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. And I'm here at the Probe International Conference with Madeleine Walker, who is a speaker here at the Autumn Probe, the 2013 conference. So Madeleine, you are an author of this book, The Whale Whisperer, and several others. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I just feel incredibly blessed to be guided by the animals and to receive incredible messages from the animals to help mankind, humankind shall I say, and the planet, and the deep, profound connections that we have with our animals that can be with us through many lifetimes and can take us back to previous lifetimes where there's been maybe a physical or emotional trauma, and by taking us back we can then rewrite the script and change the whole outcome. And so bring back only the happy, safe, healed memories to allow us to be empowered and as happy and healthy emotionally as possible, emotionally and physically.
And so animals are actually sort of spiritual beings incarnated in bodies like we are.
Absolutely.
And a lot of them are light workers, guides,
Definitely.
teachers.
And they can be out-of-planetary beings that find a way of connecting and communicating with humans via a physical animal body.
It's true, because animals can be enormously, I'm sure if you've got a pet, you know what I mean. I mean, even if you're not, aware of or you're not interested in the same subjects me and Madeleine are, I bet you have a special relationship with your dog, because dogs or cats, dogs in particular, I find, are...
Dogs are, I just feel they're the best physical vehicle of expressing and giving unconditional love, which is why some humans will decide or choose to come back as a dog, because it's the best way for them to learn unconditional love and to give unconditional love.
They are amazing. I mean, they're more human than human, some people say. And it's true, they do give unconditional love, don't they, in a way that very few other humans do.
They
and
don't
it's
judge and they forgive however you treat them, whatever you do to them, they just want to love you.
I love it, yeah. Now, my particular, I've got to get a copy of this book, actually. I've already brought a copy of your other book, which is called, it's the Pets Past Lives.
Pets Past Lives and How They Can Heal You.
Yeah, I've got a copy of that for Stain, my partner, because I think she'll love it, and I'm sure she'll let me read it afterwards. Now, the whales and dolphins, I think I have a particular fondness for them. I get very upset about things like whale hunting. I've always really, ever since I was a little kid, I've found those sort of things extremely distressing. And so what can you tell me about these sea mammals like whales and dolphins? They're cetaceans, isn't it?
Cetaceans. I mean, the book talks about the white lions, elephants, all kinds of different wild species. The Pets Past Lives is more about the domestic pets and how they interact with us. The whale whisperer is about the wild species, because the wild species seem to be far more connected to the rhythms of the planet, and they're here to teach us how to reconnect with ourselves and to reconnect with the planet. The cetaceans, especially the whales, feel like senior management. They hold the Akashic records. They told me that they call the Akashic records the libraries of love, which I think is beautiful. So they've told me they are guardians of the oceans, and we are a blue planet. I believe they have many out-of-planetary connections, and they are just working so hard to heal us.
Lovely. Well, if viewers want to find out more about you and how to learn more about what you do and maybe order some of your products, what website do they go to?
My website is anexchangeoflove.com.
Anexchangeoflove.com. That's very, very nice. And Madeleine Walker, thank you very much for being on Paranormal TV, and thanks very much for speaking here at the...
Absolutely my pleasure. It's my mission and my passion to raise awareness, to show people just how incredible their animals are, and if only one person goes away and looks at their pet in a different way, do a good job.
Oh, great. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello, Paranormal TV viewers. I am now with Ray Archer. Now, you'll remember Ray because he has featured in a previous film I made about Probe, and he has discovered some very interesting thing about language and how there's a lot of symbology in language. But since we last spoke to Ray a couple of years ago, he's made some advances, haven't you?
Well, yes, I've been currently looking into Japanese and sort of even Maori, believe it or not.
It's not just
and
English.
You can get some very real surprises. But their legends are very interesting, especially the Maoris as well, because they indicate that they possibly had aircraft. Some god was associated with New Zealand, and he was supposed to have flown on this bird, a giant bird.
Excuse me.
Currently, this is very interesting because people are generally interested in who parts, things that are out of place as regards archaeology. Well, this particular chap, in a book called The Mediterranean Race, a study of the origin of European peoples by G. Sergi, 1901, which goes back quite a long time, and he was professor of anthropology at the University of Rome. Well, he talks about a chap called Bucknell, who apparently discovered on rocks prehistoric inscription on the rocks of Valfontanella, which is in Italy, apparently.
Right. And this is so this is not Italian. That's one thing for certain.
No,
it's not Latin either.
But the amazing thing is, there seems to be a cell phone on the rock here,
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
with the finger, or even a computer, and the old stud purse with the which is considered to be modern, with the documents there. And also, they seem to be erecting things, and there's even indications of possible golf flags and things.
These look like golf clubs. Now that there looks like a windsock you get at an airport.
Like a windsock at an airport,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, on this other one, which is another old inscription in the same book, is a petroglyph from Finalese, Liguria, which is in Issel, which is also Italian. And if you turn it, you've got something like a train with carriages.
That's right, yes. It does look like that.
And you've also got what I take to be the separating of a cell, which can only be seen probably by a microscope.
It does look rather like the sort of mitosis or meiosis of a single cell.
Yeah.
It's very remarkable. If you see these films with microscopes, you know, that's exactly what they look like.
That's right.
Did you know they've got something similar carved into the New Grange Monument in Ireland?
Yes.
And there's a book called Andrew Power. Andrew Power wrote a book called Ireland, Land of the Pharaohs, and I think that's very, very interesting and worth reading. But this really matches what you're saying here. It shows that these people had people who were aware of the microscopic world.
That's right. Well, in my own research, I've found possibly through wordology an old microscope myself.
Right.
Looking down on a microscope, which might be of interest to you.
Definitely, yes.
And there it is, and it makes the word view, except it's V-U-W.
Microscope, yeah.
And there's the two viewing thing, and you've even got indications of a mirror in the middle, which makes the U, and the W is the legs.
It looks very like I mean, you call these pictoglyphs.
And then there's a table lamp there. Now, there was a little bit of confusion in the last talk I did, basically, as regards lux. Well, lux is light. It's the old word for light.
Is it L-U-X?
L-U-X, yes. But it's extremely interesting because value and valux and delux always means light. It's if you have
it's Latin,
a new
isn't it?
car or
Deluxe,
anything.
yes.
It comes from the Latin, yes. It's extremely interesting because it always seems to mean something new. A variation of lux became L-U-S-C, as in luscious, which again means to be sort of brand new or something delightful.
Yeah.
And in the word delight, you've got it, meaning to lit up or reflect. Another fascinating aspect to all this is I've got the old table lamp here, which I made, and from wood, and that believed to not is
this is a remarkable
nicked, which would be not spelt exactly the same, but it's in German, and nicked is for night.
Nicht, yeah.
You've got N-I-C-T here, and it's obviously a night light.
Yes.
Now, what I found as regards looks was very interesting, because if you put the L over the U and then add the X, you've got actually the symbol of the light coming from a bulb. And you will see it here. The rays became the letter X. Right?
Yeah.
If you can understand that one.
X and Lux, yes.
Yeah. I'll just illustrate it on here for you to show you what I'm on about. L-U, that's the bulb, and that is the rays coming from it.
Yes.
So you get L-U, and then you've got the lit light.
That's true. That's very interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
Now you're saying this doesn't only apply to English, because of course English is languages change and evolve over time. So the languages spoken in the world today, most of them were not spoken 1,000 years ago.
That's
so,
right.
Do you find the same thing in other languages as well? So there's something unique to human language generally. There's a connection between general human language and these various things.
Oh, definitely, definitely. There's changes, like for instance, X, believed or not, has become VA.
Right, is it?
Yeah, because X, as regards a ray,
X-ray
becomes VA in value. As I mentioned before, you put the V over the A, which is the that is it there, you see.
Oh right, yes.
And that is an interesting one. But there's some other interesting variations on that as well. For instance, D, the letter D, always means something under. And what I think it is, the D, again, is a turned U.
Yes, it is.
Except that there's a line across there, and that indicates that there's a collapse there, which is a pitfall. Something collapsing, which is indications of a surface over an unstable area, which is the U. You're looking at it from the side.
Yeah. Now, Ray, we're going to have to leave it now, but do you have a website or anything like that?
I do not actually, no, but whether I will in the future.
Yeah, because you look to me.
I don't know.
Do you think you'd ever write a book? Because it looks like you've already written. You've got material for a whole book here.
This, my friend, is the start of my book. I've found evidence of ancient cars in symbolism.
Yeah.
For instance, this is for instance, hasty motor car actually makes something like a car there.
It's quite amazing.
And there's even indications of a steering wheel and so on.
Well, Ray Archer, thank you very much for being on Paranormal TV. It's great to have you back here again, and keep up the good work, and let us know next time we meet.
Yes.
Your latest discoveries.
You're welcome,
okay.
my friend.
Right, Don Phillips. I actually got an interview with him as well, so keep watching. He is a psychic investigator. He's originally from Gibraltar. He lives in England now, and he has had psychic experiences all his life. When he was a child, he was lying in his bed at his home in Gibraltar, and he saw strange things in the corner. And today he investigates hauntings, poltergeists, and he does what EVP, but he doesn't call it EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. He calls it actual voice phenomenon because he can hear the sounds too of these spirit voices. And he was interviewed on Planet X2, and I got to actually interview him on there too, which is really, really great. So if you no link, right, just go to Planet X website, you'll see it on YouTube. Planet Extra 105 on YouTube, and you'll see. You just look for it, Don Phillips, and you'll see it. And we have a brilliant discussion on there. So, and I got an interview with him again, which is really, really great on Panwo TV. So keep watching for that. Really brilliant, man. I mean, it's something that has a personal. It's kind of personal thing for me too, because and as I explained to him in the interview, I mean, he actually got his camera out and interviewed me as well. My brother we used to live in a house in West Wales, and it was haunted. The attic, there was some strange things in the attic that my brother called Earls, and it became a bit of a family joke. All right, Danny and his Earls. Oh, Danny says Danny can't go in there because there's Earls in there. And I don't think my family took it seriously. I don't think I did either. And he grew out of it eventually. We moved to Oxford when I was 8 and Danny was about 7. And the funny thing is though, it was only years later I learned that my uncle, I mean, I don't remember this, I was a small child at the time, my uncle had come to stay with us in West Wales, and he told me that he wouldn't sleep in that room because he could detect these Earls as well. I mean, he didn't call them Earls, but he detected them as well. So, makes you think, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
Well, here I am with another speaker. We've met Madeleine Walker. This here is Don Phillips. And Don, you've just done a very interesting speech where you showed us, or you played some audio of. And what is this audio you're playing of voices?
Yeah, they're all spirit replies. Rather than just like talk about it, I actually want to show people. So that I've put some film in or introduce them, explain various different aspects and everything, so people can actually hear for themselves a couple of replies that have not been boosted, not actually put through software filters. And you was there,
Yeah.
I did a live demonstration.
You did, yes, you've done a live, we have a live AVP,
yeah.
actual voice phenomenon demonstration, because it's not just on the electronic, it can actually be heard, can't it?
Yeah, and obviously there was a young lady, and it was a young lady's voice. So I
really
said at the time that it may not work, but that's the thing about things being real. Fortunately, she replied,
Yeah.
and most people heard it, so I was quite pleased with that.
I mean, you yourself became quite moved by what you were experiencing at the time.
Yeah, there was another lady at the side of me. When I started crying, I have to relate to people, I wasn't actually crying. I was feeling emotions from this lady that was with me.
Yeah.
She wanted to engage in a conversation about something. Okay, I got the impression she was something to do with somebody in the room, about 200 people, and I wasn't actually there for that purpose.
You think?
But when we took the reply, the recording live straight after that, unformatted recording, which was the chap said, what was it? I still need answers, or something like that. Wasn't
Yeah.
Which is very interesting because that was tying directly to what I was actually saying. So, it's been my first conference. It's been very, very interesting. A little bit of a learning curve.
We've met before, sort of just on the radio waves, because there is an interview. I'll put a link in the description box, actually, in the show notes to the interview you did on Planet X Radio. That was really quite interesting because you played some of these voice phenomena. Now, it refers to someone called Kirsty, who exactly is Kirsty?
Kirsty? Caught Kirsty.
Sorry, the no, there's a one of the voices you
Becky.
Becky, sorry, Becky. Yeah. A bit of confusion there. Yeah, Becky. Who is Becky exactly?
Becky is my closest spirit friend. As I've said many times before, if you check out the JSI Paranormal UK YouTube channel, there's lots of references and video footage where you can hear Becky speak.
So that's your website is
www.jsiparanormal.com.
Right, and you've got a YouTube channel as well, I believe.
Yeah, just JSI Paranormal.
JSI Paranormal.
There's
right.
absolutely lots and lots on there.
Right, so that's great. I'm sorry we can't talk for a bit longer, but it's been very, very interesting. And if there's a, hopefully they filmed it and there'll be a DVD available soon from the Probe International website, where you can actually watch what Don's been talking about. See you later. Now, another character who's very familiar, I'm sure, to all the Panmo TV viewers and has featured in several Panmo films and will be appearing later in this film in a
slightly more informal circumstance was Miles Johnston. Now, he came and did his speech. It was quite difficult for him, actually, because, as you know, he has been kicked out of the Amash project. Joanne has sort of let him go through various reasons and various circumstances that I can't go into now, but Miles does explain, and Joanne does too. Now, Miles, it's not my intention to take sides here. I mean, I met Joanne while I was there, and I spoke to Joanne because Joanne did turn up. I didn't think she would, but she did. I got on pretty well with both of them. But it must have been very, very difficult for Miles. He came onto the stage and he did his presentation. He did basically the same presentation, slightly abridged, as the one he did in Somerset House a few weeks ago, which, of course, you'll know if you read the Hupanwo blog that I've written about that. He talks about transhumanism, black goo, and the Super Soldier Project, and about how these things are becoming more and more serious. But Miles has had contact with this black goo since his early days in Irish pirate radio. And basically, it was Miles has said very, very clearly, you know, that this generation of humans may be the last natural humans that will ever live. And this ties in with Sophia Smallstorm and what she says about synthetic biology. So basically, we're the last people on Earth who can put a stop to this. If we fail, there will be no more people on Earth, at least not people as we know them. Miles did a very, very good job. Very, very professional he was under must be quite stressful circumstances. I mean, there was talk going around that Joanne was going to try and disrupt his speech. I thought that was unlikely. I mean, but then I thought she wouldn't turn up either. However, you know, I mean, really, it's unlikely that would have happened, and I think it was just rumours, and really we shouldn't have taken them seriously. It might have been at the back of people's minds. However, Joanne sat politely through the speech, and she listened to Miles, and Miles did refer to her when he was on stage. He mentioned he was in the Amash project, and he mentioned Joanne was in the audience and kind of paid tribute to her in a very, very dignified manner. So well done, Miles, for that. That was very, very good. Thanks for coming. It was nice to see you again. Yeah, we've just had a meal at the Seafarers restaurant, Colin and Dave and I must say this is the best fish and chips anyone could want anywhere.
Ben's fish was the size of a whale.
It was. We had an
Colin.
extra large, but I'll tell you what, the extra large ones, I mean, I'd have just had a regular. That looks like extra large. Very generous with their portions, not stingy at all. This lovely little town of St Anne's, this charming little place, just a short trip from the flesh pots of Blackpool, and you're in another world. It really is another world, and this is a part of that other world. Eat in or take away. Yeah, it's a lovely little charming spot there, see? And there's Tony having a meal there. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. And the probe conference is over, and I'm here in this pub, which is called the Witherspoons. What's it called? Trollboat, yeah. And the other halves of my platonic dialogue this evening are Colin and Dave, who you're familiar with. I was just wondering if I could get your guys' impression on the conference and what you thought of it.
Yeah, a lot of the speakers I'd heard before. I should get need to check to see who I could actually make sure I remember.
Because it was a 2-day conference, and
actually that's next.
But two of the speakers were doing double. They were doing double bills.
I suppose we could start with Joanne Richards was on. This wasn't actually the actual ones that they did in the order. It was all a bit messed up in the end. But Joanne Richards has been here before. She's the one who's is it the Earth Defence? Her husband who's in prison. And,
Earth Defence headquarters.
Yeah, so she talked here before, and it's one of those things. It's a bit like Charles Hall, who's one of the other speakers. He's one of the guy with the tall rights, and in some ways they're both as amazing stories as each other, really. I suppose he might be more credible because he's actually, allegedly had the experiences where she's relating the account of her husband who's in prison. And it's also her case, Joanne, is all to do with what happened in the past in England, and the Raptors coming over to Scotland and things like that. So it's pretty wild stuff. We were joking about the Raptors going down the
God, this was unbelievable. What is it the raptors like to do?
They slide down the banister. They put grease on there or something.
Yeah.
And this was at a Scottish castle. And it was also there was a meeting in Exeter. Was it 1970? December 72, I believe.
61.
71 was in. Also, because there was one after.
71 was in Iran.
But there was something in December 72.
Yeah. There was these treaty meetings between the extraterrestrials and these various alien races. Yeah. It's.
Don't forget the war beetles.
Oh, the war beetles, yeah, and the Jatoon.
And there was quite a big fuss because Mark Richards, I believe that's the husband, is that right?
Mark Richards, yeah, he's in jail.
He piloted one of these Raptor ships, is that right?
Mm.
And there was quite a big fuss. It caused a bit of a stir with the young Raptors.
Yeah, he got. Apparently, Mark Richards did get radiation injuries as a result. But I mean, what strikes me is I don't know if you've read Timothy Good, but a lot of what Timothy Good has written kind of backs up Joanne up to a point. There's some similarities. This was struck me about, especially about what she said this time.
I've also heard that there is like these castles, like places like Balmoral, and I know it touches on like the Queen and the idea that there's underground entrances of some of these. A lot of these castles were built on ley lines and powers of places of energy over the years. They just build over them, and it could be that there are entrances into underground, so there could be some sort of reptilian. Although I think some of these are actually coming from the actual
Could be.
past.
And there's
so
lots of secrets in royal
there's
palaces. That's for
something
certain.
dodgy, something very. I mean, some of it sounds too amazing to be. You know, the Pro Conference is one of those conferences where it's not for skeptics. I think.
Oh no.
Well, give a skeptic a feel.
I'll tell you what we can do. We'll invite Professor Brian Cox and really to torture him.
And maybe David Hitler and yeah, all that. I mean, but yeah, you'd have to, you know. But that's not to say that these things aren't real and never happen. So that was Joanne, really.
What do you think of Joanne Richards, Dave?
Personally, I didn't really sort of connect to her. I didn't really connect with her talk. I mean, some, the others sort of were better as far as I was concerned. She was just reading off a script, and it didn't feel. I didn't feel drawn to it. No, I didn't feel. It just felt a bit robotic, and consequently, I didn't really take in too much what she was saying, apart from the obvious highlights about the Raptors and etc. etc. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I think if you come to Pro, you've got to be prepared just to sort of soak up a lot of out there information, just to absorb it like a sponge. And it's not for the skeptics, as you say.
No.
But it's a good conference. It's a very sort of social conference. I like the sort of social side of it, and the fact that Saturday night we have a nice social gathering. And
it has a family-like atmosphere, I think.
See some faces, don't you?
We've been to the car. We had a mountain of food, fish and chips tonight with the seafarers. So I sort of, for me, it's a sort of food and socialising conference, and a lot of out there information, which you sort of lean back and half go to sleep, or actually go to sleep in my case, and just sort of soak it all up on a
process it
on a high consciousness level. You know, it's not one for me. It's not one for sort of focusing on every word. It's one for sort of just absorbing. You know. And then socialising, and it's a good homely sort of conference.
I guess it is.
It stands out. Yeah.
That's definitely true. Yeah.
But we've had a really good time. I mean, we're very tired. Certainly, I'm very, very tired, and three of us are very tired. But apart from that, it's been great.
There were some new speakers we hadn't heard before. Janine Regan.
Yeah, she was a new one.
Madeleine Walker was very good. I think was she the animal one?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good.
Madeleine Walker.
And, I know you were saying we want to be a bit sceptical about how he actually turned out to be one of the better ones,
best of the lot,
best of the lot. And David Starbuck, who's behind Revelation Tapes. It's good to see that David's back.
Yeah.
And there's another dodgy character outside. And
I think that's one of the men in black. Who's not brushed his hair properly. Oh my God, who's that? Oh yes, it's him. It's oh my God, who's that? Oh God, it's an alien.
Miles' tour was very professionally done, and that was good.
That was one of the highlights. That's the main reason I came up.
And we had.
Oh my God, So he's just nicked a deck chair for the beach to make his blazer.
Well, oh gosh, I don't need you to respect it anymore.
You can let your hair down, mate, now, yeah.
Black goons. That's the only hair there is here, not microphone.
There's more there than there is on my head. Can't say the same for the rest of
Free
them.
presentation again for the video diary.
Yeah, we're just doing our little. These are the other half of my platonic dialogue here. But did you? I mean, what do you think of Charles Hall? Because like he was.
He was back,
I found him very hard.
here.
I found him very hard to follow.
Yeah, it's very similar to a sort of talk he gave. He was on both days.
Well, the first one was virtually identical. The first part was identical. He was another double bill guy.
And he was supposed to talk about the cook service. I'm a bit disappointed because it was advertised on the website, not on this piece of paper. But but then I did remember him actually did touch on that subject actually the last time he was here, and he's of the opinion that crop circles are actually made by the government with their space-based weapons for whatever reason. So I didn't get too much out of him. I didn't get much time to talk to him. But yeah, it's sort of more of the same. I mean, I haven't read his books. I did get the DVD, so one of his first talks he did. He's an interesting character, and he can certainly stand up and talk for a long time. So he's definitely had these experiences. Although it seems to be he was having experiences pretty much on his own, or because he was this weatherman type person out in the desert.
Yeah.
So whether he's been,
some of the strange, because some of the stuff he talked about was very similar actually to Joanne Richards. He talked about the aliens liking to play pool. And he said the aliens used to go to their base and they used to think the aliens used to take over the pool table when the other guys had gone, winner stays on.
And also get the casino maybe.
Yeah, they weren't far from Las Vegas after
There's a
all.
lot of strange people in Las Vegas. They get a way of hanging out there.
Yeah.
That's
I think they like casinos. They might be some in Blackpool, you never know.
That's true. But I don't know.
What do you think of Charles Hall, Dave?
I find him a very likeable sort of personality, and I quite. His speech was quite monotonous, but he had a lot of information, and but it was different from Joanne Richards because I don't know. I felt you could connect with it more. It's more. There's more of a connection, really.
Because he allegedly experienced it.
Yeah. He was. I got the sense that he was quite. He did experience it, and he wanted to just get his story out, and it was coming out so fluently. And it wasn't like Joanne, he wasn't reading from the script. It was like he was trying to sort of, get all his history out and everything. It felt genuine. But again, it was quite a monotonous tone. It wasn't varied in that way, but it just meant that I quite enjoyed listening to it, but on a sort of, half awake level almost, to be honest, personally, But,
yeah.
But it was, I sort of, but having said that, I did connect with it more on a certain level than I did with the other.
Von Braun's helicopters.
Oh yeah. That's
Braun's
right.
helicopter.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is he actually officially known as being involved in the helicopter? Because I haven't really studied. I don't know the history of.
Do you want to be on her Do you want to be on her Panmo TV2, Tony?
Yes, you
Do you want to be on the Panmo TV2? 'Cause I mean, you can be off camera if you like. But if you prefer. All right, no worries.
The voice from
The voice, the faceless voice. Yeah. Oh, no worries. I'll get my drink here. I've got some of this Stella cider here at the moment.
So I'm not a counsellor anymore. So when Miles first asked me to be on his
does that mean that you're an
DVD?
abductee, like John, like Simon Parks?
Like
Simon Parks, because he's a counsellor, he gets abducted. Obviously, because you are a counsellor, you must have been abducted many times.
Well,
it's logical.
I didn't want to do anything to embarrass the Russians,
well, I'm sure John Shelton hasn't done anything to do that either.
Who was your favourite speaker, Miles, apart from yourself, of course?
No, I'm award seeking.
Oh, right.
I'm saying seeking. I'm not actually famous.
Are you not?
Very important that. Very important difference.
Right. As long as you're seeking it, you're all right.
I thought there was a woman talking about consciousness and talk to trees. I thought she was the best one.
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
That's tuning into the life force of the earth.
Yeah. It's funny, because I mean, I think I'm sort of gelled with her more than the others, because I mean, I've actually got an interview with her as well, which is nice. She's on this film, which you've already seen by now. When I was a little kid, I had this really thing about whale hunting and stuff like that. It used to absolutely just tear me to bits. Even the thought of it. It was something that horrified me.
But they're supposed to be the guardians.
Yeah, and something what she said sort of like.
Yeah.
They sort of fitted in with that,
She's a lot of her information came through a raccoon, which she called Brock, because she originally thought it was a badger.
What's a raccoon doing in this country?
Anne Shield, Wynn's ex-squeeze, Anne Shield, that you may have seen.
Yeah.
She had a raccoon as well.
Well, you know, it's funny because it reminds me a bit of Jeff the Talking Mongoose. You know, on the Isle of Man. Have you heard of Jeff the Talking Mongoose?
14 times I've covered.
Yeah. I mean,
But I think she did a bit.
he did a lot of predictions and things like that. Apparently,
I think she was saying that the raccoon had been taken over by some plebeians.
Yeah. See, mongooses or mongoose, whatever you call them, they're not native to the Isle of Man, let alone any other part of Britain. But they appeared in as a kind of spirit being on this house on the Isle of Man. Of course, 14 Times has done its usual hatchet job on it, you know. But I mean,
I'm sure the 14 Times is a well-balanced and very well respected organ of disinformation, and servile skepticism.
Yes, it is. I mean, Time was it was a
Skeptics magazine.
Yeah, there was
Skeptics magazine.
Septic is right, Wiles. Yeah. I mean, their Time was it was actually quite good, and but that is their Time was. It's not like that anymore. It's now virtually it's 14, which is virtually one step up from the Skeptics. They're aping the Skeptics. They've got one foot in the sort of like specialist skeptic press, and the other foot they're trying to sort of like be friends with people like us, but deep down they ridicule us, they despise us. Yeah. You know, they were very like those guys from Lapis, I found.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. Unfortunately, I'm almost out of film. But did you find the Lapis guys?
Yeah, they sort of come from that sort of. I mean, it's good that they're doing stuff, but it's a bit like the before. They're a bit more sceptical and not quite ready to come off the fence. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely, yeah. Right, guys, I'm going to have to leave it there because I've got 3 minutes left, but I want to save that for something I want to do when I'm back in Oxford. So.
God, do you mean this show is? Are you telling me this show is produced?
Believe it or not, yeah. No, it's just well, you know that it's just like yours, Miles.
Absolutely.
I would just say that the player didn't.
Right, souvenir time again, everyone. Hope you can see this. That's the latest Nexus, Volume 20, Number 6, October, November 2013. Oh yes, that was. I didn't actually get to read any of that, but I will do. This is... What's this? Adventures Unlimited. As I explained, I think, in the Exapole film, David Hatcher Childress sent this to me without me asking, which is rather nice of him. What's this? Oh, it's a DVD. Oh! Where Did the Towers Go? With Dr. Judy Wood. I think I bought that from Andrew Johnston's stall at Exapole, and I'm going to give that to somebody, because I've already got a copy of that. Several cards here. Millennial Hospitality by Charles Hall. That's it. That's Madeleine Walker's card. The Monarch Hotel. That's where I stayed. Janine Regan Sinclair, one of the other speakers as well. I picked up cards from everyone here. Oh, these are my tickets. This is the entrance for Saturday. Entrance for Sunday. Who's this? Oh, UFO Truth magazine. Someone gave me that as I walked through the door, but I'm going to it anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. What's this? Cosmic Whistleblowers: The Last Roswell Witnesses by Donald Schmidt. Donald Schmidt. Now that's a new film that's coming out. I'll have to see that. I like Don Schmidt. Apricot Shop. This is Kenton Tory's card, who is going to be my next guest on her Panmo Radio, actually. What's this? The Langdale's Hotel. Oh, this is the brochure from the hotel. It's probably the most luxurious place that they've ever stayed in, actually. Yeah, because I mean, I've already explained that the Carlton one was an absolute dive, the place they had before, and they're now in a much nicer place. So it's welcome, relax, posh rooms, swimming pool, ooh, golf. Of course, you can't go to St Anne's and not have golf. And very, very grand hotel it is too. Real 5-star joint. That's Joanne Richards' card. That's her husband, Captain Mark Richards, who is in prison, as I explained. Oh, she signed it now. That's nice. And it talks about her various things she does at Earth Defence Headquarters, her website, which is very, very edhca.org. This here is that's YMCA conference menu. What have we got here? UFO conference. Oh, this is on Skywatch. Saturday the 9th of November,
Tony Topping, Nigel Morton, Paul E. Green, who went on the Skywatch with us, at Settle in North Yorkshire. I'd love to go to that, I really would, but I can't go to that and go to Carrie Heseltine's conference too, unfortunately. It's too expensive. Stephen Mera. You saw Stephen Mera earlier on. Yeah, he gave me this. This is yep, his magazine. Of course, you'll know him from the Exopolitics videos. KJ's Holiday Homes. God knows where that came from. Oh, this is David Boyle's. This is David Boyle's brochure. The Children of the Stars. God, I mean, what a guy. I forgot to tell. Did I tell you that he actually? I spoke too soon. I mean, it's such one of the most wonderful bits of news after I was lamenting and eulogising his old UFO exhibition. Right, David Boyle actually has a new one that's just opened. I was saying I hope it opens again one day. Well, it already has. Yay! David Boyle is coming. He's back on the scene. He's also developing a solar power station. And he's invested a lot of money into building this solar power station. He's going to make himself energy independent, and he's going to try and get other people to do the same. Oh, this is the Probe International. This is the agenda. I'll keep that lovely souvenir there. This is Lake District Ancient Sites. Oh, that's the megalithic tours guy. He turns up every year, and he has his stall, and he diligently watches it, and it's really, really good. And I really was going on one of these tours once. Yeah, Mysterious Earth Conference here. This is a conference coming up next year. Oh, I might go to that. Clive Prince and Lynn Picknett. Dave Truman, is he still around? Peter Knight, I don't know who these people are. But that should be worth going to, definitely. Flying Saucer Review, which I told you about in Exopolitics. The Unexplained Conference brochure I told you about. And finally, I have... This is Dave Starbuck's brochure. I haven't had one of these for a while. Blimey. Oh, he's got a thing about the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, about free speech there, because he's had a lot of censorship in his time, our Dave. And again, that was a little blast from the past there, Dave Boyle. I should mention, actually, David Boyle... actually, one of the if it hadn't been for David Boyle, I wouldn't actually have ever gone to the Probe conference. Yeah, honestly, it's pretty much thanks to David Boyle, because not David Boyle, Dave Starbuck, because I actually got one of his brochures when I sent off the ad in Nexus magazine, and there was an ad in the envelope for Probe, and if it hadn't been for that, I would never know about Probe. So thanks Dave Starbuck for getting me to the Probe conference. I might have found out about it another way, but I didn't. So thanks very much. And that is this Probe conference's souvenirs. Right, I'm back home now. I'm back home from the 2013 Probe conference. Autumn 2013 Probe conference. Of course, there are 2 a year, unlike other conferences. And I've had a wonderful time. It's been brilliant. And loved every minute of it, and I'm so glad I returned. It's my first Probe for 2 years, as I explained. I want to thank Sam and everyone else who was involved in organising it, and all the speakers, of course everyone else who came along. I mean, it's really nice to see. It was a full house. I'll tell you what, there was hardly a seat spare. I don't think they've never sold out completely, but they come close this time. I mean, there's been some years when it's been half full, and I felt really, really, really sad for Sam and the others, because I thought to myself, well, look how much effort they put in, how few, hardly anyone turns up, but a lot of people turned up this time. It was a really, really good one, actually. It was a really, really great conference, one of the great ones. And I had a wonderful time meeting everyone. It's like a family, it's like a family reunion almost, and it was really, really so wonderful. And it gives, you get to talk about these things. You get to talk about these subjects that you can't talk about with anyone else. Because, I mean, I've said before, and I'll say it again, the kind of subjects we talk about at Probe are, as I say, conspiratorial, paranormal, spiritual, UFO related. And we have a political class in this world that doesn't want the people finding out about those things. For whatever reason we can speculate, they don't want us to know about them. And so as George Orwell said, to tell the truth in a time of universal deceit is a revolutionary act. I think in that case, Probe is a revolutionary conference. As I said, it's been a while since I went before. I mean, I'm a very different person now to what I was when I went before, because I'm no longer a hospital porter, and that is an enormous, as you know if you watch me regularly, that is an enormous change in my life. Came about when I lost my place in the hospital portering service. Lots of changes, good and bad, happened to me. Now, I think this probe I think the probe I've just been to is one of the best, perhaps because I've missed it so much and it's been so nice as a result of that. But also, it's unique among all the other probe conferences I've been to, completely unique, and I've been to now about a dozen. The reason it's unique is this is the first one where I haven't felt that feeling of deadening depression at the end of it. Now, I used to complain about this a lot, and it's true. I used to get what I used to call post-probe blues, where at the end of the conference, towards the end of Sunday afternoon and into Sunday evening, I would become become very melancholy, very disheartened. I'd feel very nostalgic for the weekend that had just ended, the conference had just ended, and this would sort of like make me feel rather triste and depressed. It didn't last long. Usually after a couple of days I'd get back into it. But I always used to book a couple of extra days leave if I could at the end of the conference in order to sort of like acclimatise myself and decompress to going back to my job in portering. Now, it could be the reason I don't get post-probe blues now could be simply because I'm not in portering. It could be that the stress of portering, which was quite intense, especially in the last few years, it got worse over this period of my service of 23 years. It could be because I'm no longer in hospital portering. I'm no longer subjected to that stress. The jobs that I do now earn me less money. I am less financially well off, but God, they're much less stressful. Infinitely less stressful. So it could be that. So I didn't get that post-probe blues this time, which is nice. Not because I didn't enjoy it anymore. As I said, this is probably one of the best ones ever. And March is coming. It doesn't seem so long now with its quickening after 2012. I haven't noticed a reverse quickening yet, and I'll have more to say on that in a future film. It seems like because it's twice yearly, it won't be long till the next one. And I mean, I want to do everything I can to get to the one in March now. Now I'm back into it. I think I've got to stay back in it like I used to. And I want to thank you, Paranormal TV viewers, for accompanying me on this little adventure of mine. I hope you've enjoyed this video, Return to Probe, this feature-length movie that I've done about my experiences this weekend, and there'll be many more coming because I have other trips planned. So, as the saying goes, watch this space. Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.
What the fuck?
Next Wednesday, second. Oh, Worcester.
It's gone! The bastards! It's gone!